Hi, I am Carmen Hall. I completed the data analytics pathway and I did my project on music and stress reduction. I am a United States Navy veteran. I served on the USS George H.W. Bush as a naval nuclear electrician. Following my service, I moved to Central Kentucky, where I reside in Lexington, and I started my career in the healthcare industry, starting in operations, moving toward reporting analytics role. For career growth, I noticed that a lot of job requisitions require the use or skills with SQL, Python, and data visualization tools such as Tableau. So this led me to a Google search to see where I could find or acquire those skills in Kentucky, and I found the CodeU program, and I liked all the resources that was listed on their website. A little bit more about me is I love music of all genres. And I believe that music has the ability to heal or, at the very least, calm you down if you're in a very stressful situation. This led to me wondering if there was a genre that was the most effective at improving your mental health or your mood, as well as what would be the top song within that genre. The process was I utilized two data sets. The music and mental health survey data set is where survey respondents self identified their mental health conditions and ranked it on a scale of 0 to 10, their favorite genre, and whether or not that favorite genre had any effect on their mental health. The Spotify data set ranked the songs based on streams from high to low popularity. Knowing, as I mentioned earlier, that I wanted to get skills in SQL, I utilized this as an opportunity to organize and clean my data. For the survey data set, I was able to remove unnecessary columns, provide a filtering option to where I would only have Spotify as the primary streaming service, and also do some aggregate functions. And for my Spotify data set, I did a union for the high and low popularity of songs, and then organize it from highest to lowest, as well as sorting it by genre. In Python, using various libraries, I was able to complete my analysis. And on the screen, I have an example of the correlation matrices that I did for the survey and Spotify dataset. For the survey dataset, anxiety and depression had a bit of a correlation. And so then I wanted to check to see what the top genres were for those mental health conditions. They were rock, pop, and metal. This represented 36% of survey respondents who identified having anxiety and depression at a level of 6 or greater. My Spotify dataset had a correlation for energy and loudness, which I found to be very interesting as those are attributes of rock, pop, and metal music. And down below, I have a couple images of some waveforms that I did. The waveforms represent the top song within the genre, and with them, I was checking to see if there was any similarities within the patterns of the waveform for those top songs. I wanted to share a little bit of how I organize my information in the Jupyter Notebook. In Markdown, I utilize headers, subheaders, sentences, and then within the cells, this nice little hashtag to just kind of keep whoever was looking at the notebook abreast of what I was doing. I also organized my data to where I did one data set at a time. As this was new to me, I wanted to keep everything very succinct and clear. So I started with the music and mental health survey, performed an analysis here, and then over in this tab is where I did my Spotify music data set, also utilizing lists with numbers and Markdown, just so that whoever's reading it can understand or have an idea of what is to come. Following all of this, I did use the clean data frames for music, the correction for the survey, and the Spotify data set to merge them and then come up with my conclusions for the project. The main challenge was that when I noticed that based on the statistical method that I chose to calculate the upper and lower confidence intervals, that there was overlap. And basically, that meant that I would not be able to definitively state that one genre was the best genre. Even though earlier, while rock, pop, and metal were popular among 36% of survey respondents with those high reported levels of anxiety and depression, My findings based on my statistical methods still state that one genre is not more effective than the other. And on the table on the right, you could see that the improved percentage does show, for the most part, across all genres, that music is still effective at improving your mental health. This was a huge lesson learned for me because I thought once I had the data, I would be able to see exactly what I wanted to see. I would get the data that I wanted. And I learned quickly that it is important to report the findings as it relates to your data. But it's also equally as important as to look for other things that the information within the data can tell you um, about how to perform an analysis. Some things that I learned about myself is as a virtual learner, I am great at collaborating. I enjoy sharing what I think about different things, as well as hearing what others think about a project or how to solve a problem. I learned how to communicate more effectively tech with those who are not of the tech world. And as I stated earlier in my presentation, I was able to gain skills using Python, SQL, as well as Tableau Public and GitHub. Here's my contact information. Please reach out, contact me, link with me on LinkedIn, and thank you so much for your time.